Bosh, and we're off. 90%, 100%. Right. Evening, pal. How are you?
I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm all good. We've got a 29% up in the top left corner. It's now 99%. Anyway, we'll see how this goes. Right, Edgy. Before we start, I got a top tip for you, right?
What's that?
For anyone, I know you don't vape, but for those who do, I was changing this just now because mine's old and it needs changing, but I'm too tight to buy a new one. So it's just clinging on, right?
Oh my God.
I've refilled it, but it leaks slightly. I've got vape juice residue on my finger. Didn't realise. Went to scratch my eye like that. I was walking around like this for the last 10 minutes.
What, having pink eye? Mate, that's not good. You're going to get pink eye from that, mate.
No, it's
red.
That's what.
Oh, is that why you got the glasses?
Well, no, mate, it's been beautiful weather down here. I've been walking around in the sunshine all afternoon. I'm probably going to be burnt tomorrow, but it's been nice.
Yeah, it's been a good day, like.
Anyway, so can you please introduce yourself?
What, me?
Indeed.
All right, then I'll introduce myself. I'm Edge, little short man from the east, where it is at. You know what I mean? There's no fucking granite up here.
Right.
Well,
my name is Lewis. So anyone who's listening, or Robbo. We're obviously not going to use first names, are we?
No, I'm not.
Edge and Robbo, right. So obviously, as you can see, I've named it East Meets West, which you come up with. Which I'll be honest with you, mate. Firstly, I was thinking, I was like, oh, that's good, but I sort of accepted it because I thought I haven't got anything else. But the more and more I thought about it, I like it.
Yeah. If you find something better, mate, just put it in there. I just thought it's just something what describes both of us away. And like, I know you get it a lot, like East and West people meet in the country and that, but it's just something different, isn't it?
I like it. Like I said, mate, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. It's good.
Yeah. So, with what's going on and all that, obviously, we've got different stances on rugby and football. So shall we just delve in, shall we?
Well, so as a bit of an intro, I think, like you said, it all stems from our little group chat, which is what, 5 of us in it. Well, 4 most of the time, and some very different football opinions. And you and I have sort of branched off with the rugby stuff, and so the idea from this came from that. So just instead of just doing voice notes on the group chat all the time, we would do this. Now, like I've said to you before, I had a bit of a YouTube channel a couple of years ago covering Newcastle United, which just sort of dried up. And classic me, I changed my phone. Changed my phone, forgot my old YouTube password, so I couldn't get back into it. So I got like 200 videos sat somewhere. None of them were probably any good. I used to just do it in my car. But you and I have had some interesting sport conversations, so we just thought we'd come together like this. And I'll be totally honest with you, mate, it's been quite nice having someone of the same opinion. Because, you know, it's particularly when you're younger, there's nothing worse than like you're really keen for something and you go to someone like, oh, yeah, we should do this. And they're like, not asked. Not brilliant.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
I think it's like I say, like, there's a lot of things you can chat about where people, like, it's voicing an opinion, but it's an opinion what's not right or wrong. It's just someone having their feelings mentioned, and that's something we do. We have different opinions on a lot of stuff in sport, but again, I think that if you can understand someone and you take that knowledge on what you didn't have before, you'll learn from it, and then you'll be like, oh, right, okay. But it's when people can't take it on and they're stubborn, that's where it gets like, Jesus.
Yeah.
It's mental. Gareth Southgate, prime example.
We'll get to that. Maybe another day on that one. But I think that's the beauty of opinion. There is no right or wrong, is there?
No.
If we just talk seriously for a second, there is no such thing as a right or wrong opinion, really. Opinions are like arseholes, mate. Everyone's got one.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they do have one. Some empty more than others, but you know what I mean. Not in that expect, as in like some people will gob off a lot more, chat a lot of crap as well. Probably what we're going to do on this, but hey, it's a bit of fun for me and you, just having a laugh, keeping ourselves in contact with each other,
Yeah.
um,
Hey,
and that's what it's about.
we're not
And
hurting
then
anyone, mate, are we?
no, not hurting no one. And then you've got other people, what their arseholes are tight and they don't want to say anything because they're scared. They're scared of what the repercussions are. So I think we just need to just get on with what we want to chat about, have
Mm.
a bit of fun, have fun with it. Really, that's it. The whole point of this is to be fun. You don't want it to be serious where everyone's like, "Oh my god." You want to have a bit of fun, don't you? Have a smile on our faces, and I think that's a good thing to have. So
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that, mate. Um, so should we sort of set out our? You said about being too serious. I'm going to sort of like contradict that a little bit. A little bit. What's our topics of conversation? Obviously, not for tonight because this is just the first one. But what do we plan on talking about in the future?
it could be anything, mate. But obviously, there's certain stuff I'm not going to chat about because it's just not worth it. It's not worth. But there's a lot of like, if it's sport, we'll always chat about sport. Even if, let's just say someone does actually watch this and starts following somehow, would be like a really decent thing. But if not, we could just chat about football, rugby, what's going on in like the world in like a sense of positive things, not negative, because the negative things it will just be too, how can I say it, too somber. It won't be fun
Hey,
and energetic.
there's more than enough of doom and gloom going around in the world, mate. We don't
Exactly.
need to add ours to it.
Nah, definitely not. Best one to speak about with you, I have to say, we'll have to get on that. That was one day is Gareth Southgate. We'll get on that one.
All right. I'll tell you what. Once we're done with this little one, I'll write up like a little plan.
Yeah,
Yeah, because let's just go. Obviously, our two main sports, I would say, is obviously football and rugby, in terms of interest from the two of us, and without being, oh, we know everything. We're both fairly clued up on those two subjects.
yeah. But it's
Fair.
also nice. It's also nice to put out there is if other people have different opinion, don't abuse us. Just literally go, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Because you know what happens potentially. People just start abusing, and it will make us uninterested and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. So football, rugby, football in terms of primarily our two teams, obviously Newcastle, Tottenham. But then if you look more
Thank,
locally, I've just seen Truro City have just been promoted to the National League. So there you go.
yeah,
If we're just going to row back slightly, East meets West. So your home is whereabouts in Kent?
Sittingbourne.
Sittingbourne.
Yeah, I'm in Sittingbourne, Kent.
Right, okay. I don't know why that's made me laugh.
I don't know why it's made you laugh. It's like it's. Do you want me to tell you where it's near, just to make it easier?
No.
It's in.
Gravesend?
No, it's not there. It's in between Maidstone and Sheppey, Isle of Sheppey. But I'm closer to Sheppey.
There you go. Nice. So you're the pretty much extreme east of the southeast of the country, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I'm right down the other end in sunny Cornwall. Sunny this time of year. It rains 70% of the year, but there we go. So I'm like mid/west Cornwall. I would say on the edge of west, because when you say West Cornwall, people automatically think of Land's End, Penzance, all that sort of area. Whereas I'm sort of like, what is Midwest, isn't it? But then, because Mid Cornwall could be like St Austell, which to me is further up. I'm like sort of Redruth, Penryn, Falmouth-ish. I don't like saying Redruth. Eluggan.
Eluggan,
Eluggan.
Jesus.
Thuggin in Eluggan, mate.
Bloody hell. Am I back on Poldark?
Oh, yeah. There you go. Do you know what? I've never finished that series.
I've seen.
It's something that you'd think I'd be well into, but I struggle with it.
Um, I've seen it a few times, mate. Very good series. Um,
Captain Ross.
yeah, Captain Ross there. Um, but yeah, no, I like it. It's like I said, I've lived down Cornwall for 6 years in my earlier part of my life, and I
Mm,
loved every minute of it. It's a nice county. Don't like it when is it Emmett's come in?
yes.
The Travellers, yeah, the people what bring money down to Cornwall you don't like,
Holiday
but
makers.
yeah, holiday makers because of their caravans and that. But the A30 is a lot better now. It's not just one single road near enough. It's
That's right. They sorted the road out. So when the fleets of caravans do descend upon West,
yeah,
it is a bit more bearable. It was.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's a lot better. Like obviously,
But
been down.
it's certain months of the year you're going to have mass traffic wherever you go in the UK, aren't you? Really.
Yeah, yeah. M25 is a nightmare, mate.
Mm.
It's just sheer volume of people wanting to go to Gatwick, Heathrow, jobs and stuff like that. It's like it's a car park, mate. You know what I mean? It is like a massive car park, like the M5 is going up north.
Mm.
Car park. You've done that drive a few times going to watch the Toon, didn't you?
I have, yeah. Emotional drive. Right. So subjects. Obviously, we're going to talk about football a hell of a lot. There's
Yeah,
primarily going to be obviously the season's winding down now, but Tottenham, Newcastle. I've got some strong opinions on England. Um, I'm just going to put it out there. Like I said to you a few times, I'm not that. I'm not an England fan. I'm not an anti-England fan. I don't want them to lose. I'm just not asked like really either way. Like if they win a game, I'll
yeah,
be like, oh, nice. I'm not sat there wanting them to lose. But if they, the best way was sort of if looking back, I remember 2004 Euros probably a bit early for me because like I said to you the other day, growing up, my dad wasn't into football when I was growing up. My dad wasn't into football, so obviously Cornwall football's not the number one sport. So I was never really that interested until like I sort of got to last year of primary school going into secondary school. So, but I can remember the '06 World Cup. Obviously, penalties, Portugal, Ronaldo, Rooney, all of that. I can remember '08. Obviously, they didn't get that. 2010, the game against Germany. You know the Lampard ghost
Oh,
goal.
was that the when it hit underneath the crossbar went in, but
Yeah,
it actually didn't get given?
yeah. So I can remember,
Standard.
but I was what 16. I can remember I was at because my dad's part of a car club, and it used to be that the annual show was in Newquay at like a holiday park, water park sort of holiday park. And I can remember everyone watching it in the bar, and my brother, who was 13 at the time, was so upset, like borderline crying by it. And I'm not trying to take the piss out of him. I'm just saying, right? But I couldn't give it off really because I was 16 and my girlfriend at the time was with me that day. So obviously, being 16
So,
years old with a girlfriend, you're more interested in that. And then I just lost interest, and Southgate with, and we'll save that for another day. So football is going to be all over the place, really, isn't it?
yeah.
And bring Dan in for some of his mental opinions. Rugby wise, obviously, big time. We got the Lions coming up this year, which is going to be a massive talking point for you and I, which I think we're going to have a lot of fun with. And then you got obviously Premiership is sort of winding down. Super Rugby is already they're looking at playoffs, and that's only been going 2-3 months.
Yeah,
Um,
they're rather quick, aren't they?
then you got obviously the summer tours. I got a feeling the All Blacks are going to France. They're touring France, so that'll be spicy. Then obviously
That would be fun.
yeah, November international. So I think we got a lot to talk about there, and we can do like like you say, Lions Tour selection. We can do our own little World 15s and stuff like that, which would be good. Any other sports that you are like majorly interested in or that you like to talk about?
I like the NRL, like rugby league. I don't. I'm not. I'm not a big Super League fan. I think the NRL is better. Oh, that's going to kill me on this now because again, Super League's the English version. Well, you got NRL, which is the Australian New Zealand version, but the games like in the NRL are just a lot. I don't know what it is. It's like the standard of skill just seems to be a lot better. But
Yeah,
then I understand. Then when you watch like the champions of each league, sometimes it'd be Australia win, sometimes it'd be like the Super League what wins. So it's one of them. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
It's a bit mental really because of the fact of I do like to watch that over Super League, which isn't great for our country. But I'm not a major like oh yeah I'm a Super League addict. I'm not. I've
yeah,
I prefer Union. I think Union's a lot better for me.
yeah,
It's a bit too like stop start sometimes with league, and I just prefer the nitty gritty stuff on the ground and that as well.
yeah.
But we can
I'll
speak.
be honest, I don't know an awful lot about rugby league. I've got a friend of mine who I've known for years who's from Barrow in Furness, with, it's like extreme northwest. Um,
Jesus.
Massive rugby league fan. Um, I don't really. I watch the odd game,
Yeah.
like if it's like the Rugby League World Cup or something. Obviously Cornwall have got a rugby league team.
Have you? You got one in now?
Yeah, they've been in for a few years, but I think that they ploughed a lot of money into it and got a lot of guys down from the north to sort of play. And I don't think it's really sort of worked, but it will take time. Obviously, because Cornwall is very, very much rugby union, always has
Yeah.
been, always will be. So it will take time. In terms of
Pirates.
well, yeah, in terms of what you were saying about NRL and Super League, I'm sort of similar. Like, I watch the odd Premiership game, like
Yeah.
if Chiefs are playing, or I quite like watching Gloucester, which is ironic because they just absolutely annihilated Exeter Chiefs. But if it was, say, Sale against, well, Northampton are lovely to watch. Let's say Sale against Saracens or Crusaders against the Brumbies, I'm going to watch the Super Rugby game all day long. But so we got plenty to talk about there. Any other sports? For me,
Uh,
I did go through a stage of watching the UFC regularly and really getting into it. I don't watch all the cards because it just takes up so much time.
well,
Um,
being up at like
yeah.
3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning our time, it's like a
Um,
literally a killer.
but boxing, I'm not going to pretend to
Well,
say
we
that
can speak to Jake, see if he can get in on that.
because he knows what he's talking about.
And walk and his Warcraft moments.
Yeah, I watched the big fight. Like I watched Ben and Eubank Jr. at the weekend. I watched Usyk against Fury. I watched Joshua against Fury. I'd say I'm a boxing casual. Although I did used to love watching Joe Calzaghe back in the day.
Yeah,
Um,
I wasn't a boxing fan back then, really.
yeah, obviously this is years and years and years. This is when proper big time boxing was on like BBC or
I
Channel 5.
remember, I remember watching years ago was the Mike Tyson and Frank Bruno fight.
Christ, you're showing your age there, mate.
I am, mate. What is that?
Because from memory, I believe, I might be wrong here, Jake would have to fact check me on this. I believe they fought in 1989 and then again in 1996 after Tyson came out of prison.
It would have been. I think it would have been the second one, if that's it. I don't know. But
Yeah.
again, I was born in the late 80s.
Right.
I won't give the exact year. That stays
So
quiet.
I was only 2 years old when the second one came about. But
So yeah, so I would have been. It was
then
the
you got
second one.
other sport wise. I mean, I love watching strongman.
Yeah. Oh, strongman. Bloody hell, man. That's mental.
World's Strongest Man is coming up. I want to say
December, isn't it?
no. This is the big thing, right? It's never in December. They show it on telly at Christmas, but it's like next week or the week after.
Ah, right. So not everyone sees who it is
But
until.
the problem is, maybe I could sort of delve into this another day. But the problem is, the World's Strongest Man as that show is sort of being left behind because you've got the other shows like all the Giants Live ones, which includes Britain's Strongest Man and Europe's Strongest Man. They're all live streamed.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Rogue Invitational, which was in Scotland last year, live streamed for free on YouTube. Then
Yeah.
you've got so Brian Shaw, who's an American, 4 times World's Strongest Man. He does his own event called The Strongest Man on Earth. Again, live streamed. But then the World's Strongest Man, you've got to wait 8 months and then watch on Channel 5 at Christmas, which I know is fictional, but in my opinion, that they have got to sort of modernise. But I think that will happen because one of the Canadian Mitchell Hooper, who won it in 23, and he's pretty much, bar the World's Strongest Man last year, which Tom Stoltman won again. Hooper has wiped the floor with everyone in every contest. He's unbelievable. He sort of did a bit of a, I won't call it a rant, but I suppose it was, live stream video moaning about the World's Strongest Man because they were charging people to, like, charging their families. So say if you were competing and your brother wanted to come out and watch you, they would charge your brother, which is just daft. And they were on about prize money wouldn't be given to people for like until 3 months after the contest, which is just.
Why is that? Is that just to make
I don't
money
know.
back?
It's just mad because all of the like Giants Live, which is a UK-based organisation, that they give they pay the athletes within the week, you know. But I think World's Strongest Man, because it's been the longest running one, they're a bit stuck in their ways. But they're doing a contract with CBS. That's why it's in America every year. So that contract is up. So because they used to tour around, it'd be in a different country every year.
Yeah.
So like in 20. I want to say 2015, it was in America. 2016, it was in, 2016-17, it was in Africa when Eddie Hall won it in 2017. Then 2018, they went to Malaysia, which you can imagine would have been horrific with the humidity.
Yeah.
And then ever since they've been in America. So hopefully they'll get round to, because I think strongman at its root is like a circus sport, you know?
Yeah. I remember watching it years ago, and Pudzianowski kept winning it. That's his name, isn't it?
Marius. Well, funnily enough, you mentioned that.
They had an MMA fight, didn't they? It only lasted 30 seconds.
Eddie Hall and Marius Pudzianowski, or however you say it, that they fought on Saturday night, and Eddie
destroyed him.
Yeah, I mean,
but look at the age difference in that as well.
Well, this is the thing. It depends which way you look at it, because Marius Pudzianowski is 48 years old. He weighed in, I think, about 120 kilos, because even when he was competing as strongman, he was like ripped.
Yeah.
Body of a flipping god. Whereas you look at Eddie at his peak, unbelievable power, but he wasn't a lot to look at. He was a very, very large, unhealthily large man, whereas Marius was ripped. So he came in at 120 kilos. Eddie was like 150. And Marius is 48. I believe Eddie's 37. But on the flip side, that was Eddie's first proper MMA fight. I know he fought those two little guys at the same time, but that was a bit of a circus show. A bit of a, and Marius has been fighting professional MMA for 16 years.
Yeah, because he left strongman for it, didn't he? Or he's quit strongman and then got into it.
Then went to KSW, and he's had something like 20. I think it's either 20. I think that last on Saturday night was either his 26th or his 27th professional fight. So the technical ability and the experience was way on Marius's side, but obviously Eddie's got the size, the strength, and the age as well. But yeah, it would have been interesting to see what would have happened had Marius survived that first blitz, because obviously he's got the experience of remaining calm in that situation, whereas Eddie, it was his first one. He probably like, and he just went forward, smashed him, wobbled him. Marius tried to take him down, threw him across the cage, and jumped on him and pounded him into the ground. Whereas if Marius had survived that, it would have been interesting to see whether Eddie would have gassed out, But fair play to him. He done well.
Yeah,
He did.
like I say, I'm not going to say nothing just in case he ever sees this, mate. He'll kill me. Do you know? He'll chase me, mate, catch me, and I'm a goner, mate. He's a unit. But like I say, he done what he had to. He had to win that championship. I'd say he brought it back for the UK a little bit before Stoltman went and done it.
Yeah, because
and then Tom Stoltman's just smashed it off the park.
Because obviously you had Jeff Capes in the late 70s, early 80s, who just died. He hasn't long died actually. Then you had there's a guy I want to say there's a British guy in 1989 who won the World's Strongest Man. Then there was a Welshman in 1993 who won it. But since then there was no one. It was dominated by Scandinavia and America.
Magnussen, yeah.
Magnus Ver Magnussen, yeah, 4-time winner. He gets forgotten about a little bit actually, and then obviously in the sort of the teens, you had Brian Shaw, then Zaviskus would win it, then Brian Shaw would win it, then Zaviskus. They sort of dovetail for years.
Yeah.
And then obviously Eddie, Brian Shaw won it, I want to say in 2015, 2016, and then Eddie came along, won it in 2017, said he was going to win it once and retire, and did. And obviously broke the 500 kilo deadlift, which was at the time for that particular event, like the equivalent of Roger Bannister running the 4-minute mile. It was because the deadlift world record went up by a kilo each time, small increments. And on the night, it was 463 kilos. Eddie broke that by 2 kilos in his warm-up lift. Jesus. And then went from 465 to 500. Unbelievable, and then obviously you got the controversy with during COVID, Hafthor Bjornsson pulled 501 in his home gym. Because of COVID, he couldn't do it in competition. And then him and Eddie had a spat about that. And it's all a bit silly, really. But, there's some people, funny enough, on YouTube, actually, Mitchell Hooper, the Canadian, who I was saying about earlier, did a video saying who's the real king of the deadlift, comparing the two. And I thought, sod it, I'm going to put a little comment. So I just put a little comment down saying that, you can't really argue with Mitchell's argument. It's quite a balanced view. I said, but in my opinion, Eddie's was more important just because he was the first one to do it. It's like, you never remember the second person on the moon, do you? You always remember the first. And like, who's the second person to run the 4-minute mile? Got no idea. But everyone remembers Roger Bannister did that. And just by the way that, like I said, he pushed the envelope so far in one night, and got like 600 likes on that comment, mate.
Yeah, it's a bit like Neymar in football, isn't it? That £200 million bracket, that's destroyed.
Blew out the water, and unfortunately, that's completely changed the market now.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, well, it's 200 million, but look where Neymar is now. He's by far probably a third of the player he was when he left Barca.
Would you say wasted career?
I'd say he left Barca, didn't he? Because he didn't want to be a Messi shadow.
Yeah.
So I get why he left, but I think it was.
Can you imagine the look on his face when Messi got signed for PSG?
I think he wanted it. I think he wanted it deep down. But I'd say the issue what was there is you had Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar. None of those boys would track back. No. Messi in his young days would offer Barca, and probably into Miami now because he loves it there. Do you know what I mean? He's the god of the MLS at the moment. But at PSG, those three wouldn't do nothing. You look at PSG now, the team, like they haven't got well, they've got great players, but they're not as
They haven't got
dominant.
any superstar Galacticos, have they?
No, but you don't need a superstar to win anything. You just
Yeah.
need a team to be a team. And at the moment, PSG are a team, and I think Arsenal. I think Arsenal may do them. Kills me to say it as a Tottenham fan, but
All
I
right.
think better.
Who's making the final, in your opinion?
I reckon it's going to be a final from 19 years ago. Barcelona v Arsenal, and I reckon it will be the same outcome.
I'm going to go the complete opposite. I think PSG will get past Arsenal.
Yeah,
I think Arsenal are more than capable, but I think they played fantastically well against Real Madrid over 2 games. But it's you probably would have, everyone's seen this in a tournament along somewhere down the track, whether that any team sport. You could argue this: England 2019 World Cup, different sport, I get it, but they played their best game in the semi-final, didn't they, against the All Blacks? Best England performance I think I've ever seen. When it comes to the final, it was almost like that they'd already used up all their power. So I don't know whether Arsenal have given their best performance already, but I just think PSG they're shrewd, crafty. They're a wily team, and I think Inter Milan, Barcelona should win, but I think Inter Milan have just got this dog in them at the minute where they keep overturning the underdogs, and they just keep doing it. I think they'll be buoyant and buoyed on by that performance against Bayern Munich. But then you could say the same thing for Arsenal against Madrid. So I don't know, but I'm going to pick PSG into Milan, and I think Inter Milan will win the final.
oh, that's a bit hard at the moment. Inter are struggling. They lost to Roma at the weekend, 1-0.
Yeah,
Could
but
do. It's like I said, all 4 teams deserve to be there.
league form goes out the window, mate. Tottenham are struggling in the Premier League, and they're going to win the Europa, aren't they?
I thought you'd say that. Just
Bolo
because
Glint.
yeah, well, we've got to beat them, mate. If we can beat them, that would be cracking. But if we
Bilbao
can't,
in their own backyard in the final. If they get past
oh,
Man United, that's a big ask, isn't it?
yeah, but again, look at United. They had a 96 minute equaliser at the weekend.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think Tottenham United, everyone wants that to be the final, but I think all those 4 teams have earned the right to be where they are because
Yeah.
they've done well in that competition. I just think we need to lay off an all English final because the last all English final we had in Champions League, Tottenham v Liverpool, worst
Crap
ever
game,
fight.
wasn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
like Sissoko lost us the game within the first 2 minutes with that handball anyway. But if
And
you looked at
the game was dead after that, wasn't it?
yeah, the game was dead. There was nothing about it. I remember it being hyped up. Oh my God, we've got these Premiership teams. They're both attacking and all that, and it just turned out to be the most boring game of football you'll ever watch. And it's the worst ever Champions League final in my eyes. Not because we lost, just the fact of the build up was so big. It was
Yeah.
an epic. It was an epic fail.
Yeah. It was the anti-climax, wasn't it?
Yeah, that climax, literally, no one climaxed that night. It was just, oh God, that sounds really wrong. I didn't mean it like that. But no one,
In what other way could you mean it?
it wasn't that way. It was more like, apart from the final whistle winning the Champions League, that was the only cheer you could have got out of the game.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a game like what you saw with PSG and Aston Villa when Aston Villa won 3-2. It was like a game of both like literally going from one end to the other and attacking each other and stuff like that. It wasn't exciting.
Yeah.
But boring football does win you a lot of things in life. Mourinho's done it. A lot of people are going on about Pep Guardiola being boring. I just think he's a master. He mastered how to close teams down. Obviously not this season.
Yeah, so that'll be a topic of discussion. Pep's teams play good football, but it is boring.
Yeah, but
If you go back a couple of years when Klopp's Liverpool were at their peak and
yeah,
Guardiola's City, and they were unbelievable, both teams. I preferred watching Liverpool. Like I will not sit down and watch a Man City game unless they're playing Newcastle unless they're playing Newcastle. I got no interest in watching them. I think that they just squeeze the life out of the games. They remove any sort of contest, and it's just a training match. I know maybe not so much this season, but when they were at their peak, it's just there's a sense of inevitability about the game, and there's no jeopardy or drama. It was just they're going to turn up, they're going to have the ball for 90% of the game. You're not going to have any chances. If you don't score every time you get the ball, you're knackered. But
yeah,
they're a fantastic team, and they are a fantastic team. So
yeah. Well, like you say, is if you look through the years, who's won the most trophies?
yeah,
No, in that era, who
yeah,
won the most trophies? I've always said it: attack doesn't win a game, a defense will. Burnley this year, how the hell did they go 44 games with only conceding 15 goals in the Championship? That's impressive. And like, everyone goes on about, the Premiership, the Premiership. The Championship's the hardest league going in this country.
it's the most competitive
Com-
league.
it's competitive because you know, like they're going for promotion. Every team doesn't want to get relegated, but every team wants promotion. So every team's going to go out for a win.
Yeah,
Yes, I understand that some teams aren't good enough to do that. If you look at Plymouth at the moment, I'm not sure if they've been relegated or not. I don't know, but
they've
they've
got
won.
one game left to play,
But
and
they've come back.
they the only way they can avoid relegation is if the team Luton lose without scoring. Or but yeah, if Luton lose and don't score, and Plymouth score, Plymouth are 14 goals behind in goal difference.
Say goodbye.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. If Plymouth win 8-0 and Luton lose 7-0, they'll be all right. But it ain't gonna happen.
Ain't gonna no,
You
not
know.
now. I don't.
But what was the getting Wayne Rooney as a manager killed that, in my opinion. He was an unbelievable player, underrated, unbelievable player. Seems like a decent guy when you see him on like the overlap and interviews, and he seems all right. From what Dan has said, that he's very well liked in Plymouth. Obviously, I don't live in Plymouth anymore, so I've just got to take his word for it. But you look at his record. All right, he did fairly well with Derby under difficult circumstances. The
Yeah,
finance, fair enough. Went to DC United, 20-odd% win ratio. Went to Birmingham City, were in the playoffs when he took over.
they
Now they're
went
in
bad, didn't
then they got relegated. I think they're I haven't looked at the League One
they?
standings, but I
Yeah,
think
they won. They won the
yeah,
league. 'Cause I
yeah,
think.
and they got some money behind them, so that they could make a push.
Yeah,
Then
Wrexham have gone up with them.
and you look at Rooney coming into Plymouth. To me, that was a PR exercise. I've
Yeah,
never heard Plymouth Argyle mentioned on TalkSport more than when Rooney, and it just wasn't working. And by the time this new fella came in, it was almost all right. He's had a lot of time. Don't get me wrong. I think was Rooney sacked. I want to say around Christmas time. So
yeah.
maybe
I think
January. The new guy's had enough time, but it was an uphill battle.
he's doing well now. He's got them playing. He's got them winning.
Yeah,
It's just a bit too late. But it's a game of football, isn't it? Look at Wrexham 3 years ago. Look what happens when everyone goes on about their money with Ryan Reynolds, but they're not that rich when it comes to where they are now.
that's right. Yeah,
they've now hit yeah, they were rich in league in the National League. They were rich. They were rich in League Two, League One. They were probably rich again. But go to the Championship, they're gonna be with everyone else.
Hmm.
But a lot of people are finical though, aren't they? As soon as a team starts doing well, they want them to lose. Standard British mentality.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely it is. Absolutely. But there we go. Right, mate. 40 minutes we've been going. This is meant to be a quick one. I think we'll wrap
I
it up.
know. Yeah, we'll have to wrap it up and get something going. But nah, it's like I say, it's just easy to chat about, innit, sport.
Yeah, yeah. And then we'll write up a little. I can't think of what the right word is. A plan, an agenda.
We'll get an agenda. We'll think of stuff. We'll just text and chat in our group and go from there. Really,
Okay.
no doubt we'll get the piss ripped out of us by everyone else.
Don't care.
You know what I mean?
Not
But
asked.
anyway, that's
There we go.
life.
Right, so there it is. Episode 1 in the books. East meets West. Thank you all for listening. If anyone is,
Don't put them on.
I'm not going to put these on. It's 6 minutes past 8 in the evening. It's too late for that. I'm just fiddling. Right, that's it. Episode 1 in the books. Cheers, mate. Here's to
That's
many
all
more.
right.
See you later.
Definitely, mate. See you later. Have a good one, mate. Bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye bye.